Just because your young person is facing challenges doesn't mean that you're failing as a parent. I just failed to lift the weight one more time. Something in strength and conditioning or weight training is really important, and actually probably the only way to get progress. Not something we would necessarily want to experience as a parent, but it did get me thinking about that feeling of failure as a parent, and a conversation I had with one particular parent last week. Parents holding a feeling of failure about their parenting is something, unfortunately, I come across in my line of work all the time, and it's part of the reason I have to work really hard to stay out of judgment or stay away from anything that might make the parent feel judged. How can I judge someone when I haven't been in their exact position anyway? There is no rule book, blueprint, perfect parenting approach. And also, I always think if I make someone feel judged and like a failure, it's not going to help them move forward. It's not going to help them feel positive and make changes. But it is unfortunately often a feeling they will have at some point. Now, this particular young person, of the parent I was talking to last week, is struggling to engage with school, is becoming dysregulated there, being excluded, getting into lots of scrapes with his social connections locally when he goes out. But he's desperate for those social connections. So there's lots of stuff going on, and the parent is feeling like they're failing a little bit. Underneath all of that, that parent is working to balance the distress that that young person feels around having to attend educational placements. They're making really difficult decisions about whether that young person should be pushed to go in, or more importantly, that they shouldn't. They are exploring different options to learn and develop as a person outside of that educational system, using that young person's interest as a focal point. They're also finding ways to set really important limits and boundaries when they really need to, with a young person who becomes quite anxious when demands are placed upon them. They are looking at other pathways forward if this whole thing doesn't work out. Ultimately, their young person's behaviour, distress, the fact that they are facing challenges and getting into trouble with the society around them is not necessarily a parent's fault. A lot of the time, it's the influence of the world around our child that is not when they're with us, which is why so many times neurodivergent young people will come to a point of burnout or overload where they struggle to leave the parent, because that's their safe place. That's the person that has actually been able to make them feel comfortable in the world around them. I say it takes a village to raise a child, or if that village is not particularly supportive, designed with that child in mind, and causes them distress and confusion, then sometimes they might face real challenges in their life. Just because your young person is facing challenges doesn't mean that you're failing as a parent. The world around that child, the society, the community, the environment plays a part. And to be honest, some of the best parenting I've ever seen is from parents of young people that are going through some real challenges, and they are far from failing.